I'm 62 years old. I have $1 million of retirement assets. Can I retire? What decisions do I have to know the answers to in order to retire? And is $1 million enough?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, Tyler, $1 million today is not what it used to be, right? And, I think the question is so subjective because it all just depends, right? I mean, $1 million today, it's just trying to understand what you're actually looking to solve for, right? Because retirement is synonymous with cash flow, right? It's one of the most critical pieces that we're looking to solve for is how much guaranteed income do you have from other sources? And as much as possible, we want our income to match our expenses, right? And for clients who have strong social securities, for clients who have pensions, for clients who have a rental income, what is their actual lifestyle, right? Because back to this subjective nature of that question, it's really about understanding what are we actually looking to solve for? How much money are you spending every month? What does it cost to live your lifestyle on a monthly, on an annual basis? What are the trips that you're looking to go on? What are the purchases that you're looking to make? All of these decisions have such an impactful reality on your retirement that we really need to understand where you're looking to go before we can understand, do you have enough, right? And, I've had one client with $500,000, but they had 2 pensions, a social security check, right? It's like they did not feel strapped for cash at all because they don't have to live off their portfolio. But I would say most individuals aren't in that position, right? These days, most individuals, maybe they have 1 to 2 social security checks. Pensions are pretty insignificant or pretty much not available for most employers at this point in time. And so the burden of the financial responsibility is really being transitioned onto the employee, right? And what that is looking like is now it's on you to determine what is your distribution weight, what's the total withdrawal rate that you can take from your portfolio. Is it realistic? When should it change? When should it go down? When should we pull back? When do we need to make adjustments? And that is where it's critical to understand what the lifestyle expenses we're looking to solve for, what the purchases we're looking to do. Are you going to move in retirement? Are you going to stay in your same home? What are the different ancillary pieces that are going to have a significant impact on your retirement? Let's understand where you're looking to go so we can design a roadmap to get you there.
What would you say, though? I mean, for that 62-year-old with $1 million,
Yeah.
If you only had, 2 things to say to them as don't make these mistakes, don't fall into these traps.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say are the biggest traps or, again, mistakes you've seen people make at 62 with $1 million that don't allow them to retire?
One of the biggest mistakes that we see people make is they take their Social Security at 62, right? When they are first available to take those benefits, and they leave so much money on the table by reducing their lifestyle because either they think the Social Security Administration is going out of business, right? Or they think that they don't know if they're going to live another 10, 15, 20 years. And so they want to make sure that the administration they have been paying into for the last 30 plus years, they get out what they put in. I understand where people are coming from that sense, but it's our job as retirement income planners to help people hedge against things like longevity risk, right? And longevity risk is the single biggest risk that people face in retirement. It's what they call a risk multiplier. And what I mean by that is the longer you live, the more times you're going to have of going through a down market, a period of challenging times economically, the higher the percentage chance that you're going to have to go into some type of long-term care facility or have some type of healthcare issue, the longer the time we're going to go through some type of war or geopolitical event that is just something out of the ordinary, right? And so living longer is actually a risk multiplier that perpetuates these other risks that we need to safeguard against. So taking Social Security at 62 may make sense, but we have to look back at not just the 65-year-old version of you, but the 75, the 85, potentially the 95-year-old version of yourself to make sure that that is a prudent decision moving forward. Now, don't get me wrong, Tyler, some people have to take Social Security early to bridge the gap because they simply don't have the assets to allow them to delay that threshold. But that's where we have to come up with a concrete strategy to make sure that they're doing the right things. I would say the other biggest mistake that I see is from a portfolio construction standpoint. Most people that I meet with that aren't at retirement yet, but are nearing it or have recently entered it, their investments are the same structure they have been for the last 40 years, right? It's like they're invested like they're 30 years old and they've got 70, 80, 90% of their money still in equities. Maybe they have a little bit of bond funds as their hedge, so to speak, but their portfolio has not been redesigned for the retirement season of their life. And this is one of the most critical pieces that needs to be addressed, not when you retire, but leading up to the retire. You don't just switch gears when you get to retirement, and that's when you make those changes. These changes need to happen proactively. We see clients' plans where it's like, hey, if we were to have another type of financial crisis, their portfolio could lose 20, 30, 40, even sometimes 50%, which when talking to clients about these scenarios, losing that type of money as you're entering retirement will change the way that you view your retirement. Psychologically, you might not ever be able to recover, right? It's like maybe you don't feel, or maybe you're not actually ever going to run out of money, but psychologically something will change. And I think the biggest thing that we help people understand is you have won the battle of accumulating assets. Most people that we meet with, they've won the battle of accumulating, right? That our job is to help them not screw it up in the fourth quarter of their life. So what this looks like is putting measures in place to help safeguard their assets, to help guard against their principal, to help make sure that we have guardrails in place, because we know that our plans are not meant to be dependent on what the stock market does for a plan to be successful, right? It's like, oh, your plan's only working when the stock market's doing well, but it's having extreme challenges when it's not doing well. And no one would find peace in that in retirement. And what our job is to do is to help construct a portfolio in a way where people know exactly what to expect, right? Because if people have clear expectations for retirement, it just allows them to sleep better at night.